Welcome everyone to episode 6. I've got Chris Tamazis. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. I know you're a busy guy, so appreciate you for making the time. Um, I noticed you from Instagram. That's how we met, and I love your Instagram, your morals and values, your traditional mindset. You're obviously Greek, so we can very much relate. I'm sure we've had a very similar upbringing, and I love your views on society and masculinity. So, welcome today. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I've just come from training, so I'm feeling amazing. I've been looking forward to this chat for since you hit me up, man. It was a while ago.
Yeah,
And yeah, vice versa, man. The things that you share, obviously we're Greek, so I could just imagine where this can go. We may need a little bit more time on the studio.
100%. I was going to say that. Well, Chris, tell us what you do. I know you're an online coach, and you're you're a different type of online coach though. You do obviously face to face as well, but tell us the type of training that you do because it's very different to your usual PTs in the gym and stuff like that. So tell us what you do.
So my background is that I played soccer growing up, like most of us Greeks did here in
Yeah.
Melbourne. And when I was playing soccer, after I got out of soccer, I got into coaching. And it was something that kind of fell on my lap where I always wanted to get into it whilst I was playing. And then once I stopped, I thought, you know what, I'm going to get into it. And from that stage, I wanted to help athletes ultimately be the best version of themselves. From a physical standpoint, it started off with that. And now, as I've dived a little bit deeper into it, it now is transformed to my coaching as a lot more deeper. It's like bringing the best out of a man from a physical standpoint, because I think it's all relative. It starts from there. But the deeper that I go in with my coaching, especially the youth athletes, it's now changing them to become better people as well as being physically dominant on the sporting field. So the coaching that I do, it's mostly with footballers, and yeah, it's a variety of online, in person. The online guys are mostly my senior guys, but when it comes to the kids and the youth that I'm in training, that's all face to face. And bro, it brings me a joy like I wouldn't be able to explain to you. Like I don't have children myself, but it's like the closest thing, other than my godson that I have, which we'll touch on later, to me actually feeling like a father. And that joy is just out of this world, out of this world. Seeing where they come from, looking at me like the older brother that's like a coach, but is not like an old coach where he doesn't know what's going on. Like I still get the bullshit that they talk about,
Yeah.
all that crap that they're going through, and just the relatability I have with them. It's nuts, man.
I've noticed that your way of coaching is very much different. And that's your point of difference, I feel like, because you're not only coaching them, but you're mentoring them as well to be better men, as you just said. I see that you have conversations with them, and I can see like when you do those kind of sprinting drills from before and after, and you see the smile on their face of how much they've improved in a short period of time, and it gives them a bit of a glow. But you're right, like they might not have siblings or might not have that big brother figure, and that's what you are to them. And I'm sure that they trust you, and that's your fulfillment, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's the way I look at it, man. It's since I became a coach, it has monumentally changed the person that I am. When I went from being a player, I was more of like a jokester in the dressing room. Once I stepped into the coaching space, that's when I really had to change how I was going to be viewed. Because now I was in control. Now I was the commander. And if I was to say something that's coming from someone that's a jokester, people are going to look at me. And it happened at the start. They were like,
Didn't take you seriously type
yeah,
thing.
they were just like, shut up there, like, who
Yeah.
are you? And I was like, fuck, all right, well, I'm not going to be a very successful coach unless I start changing who I am.
Mm.
And that's when a change happened when I went from a player to a coach, because now I was looked at like I said before, the guy that's in charge. Do my words hold weight behind it? So I've brought that into my coaching style with a very authoritarian type of approach. And because I just love talking shit and I love getting the best out of them, I bring a little bit old school, and I'm not afraid to yell at them. I'm not afraid to kick him out of my gym. I've done it multiple times, and I'll happily do it again. Because what I'm seeing with a lot of the younger generation, especially if they come from a single family home, they lack that father figure. And I've had this conversation with many parents where they've actually hired me to be their coach for their son to fill the gap of not having that father figure.
Wow.
And it's pretty hectic, man, because from a surface level, when I got into the coaching space, and from a surface level that a lot of people probably see from the exterior, they're probably like, you know what? It's just strength and conditioning. It's just get strong, put more plates on the barbell, all that sort of stuff. And like I mentioned earlier, although that's important, I think it's real, like superficial. It's deeper. And I'm seeing that as well. And this is why I'm having the conversations with the kids. Lifting weights on the barbell, to me, okay, we'll get stronger, we'll get fitter. That's all good and well. But what type of person are you going to be? Especially in football, when it's a team sport, you could be quick, you could be skillful, you could be all this and that. But if you're not a team player, if you're a dickhead, then that guy's not going to run back for you. If you say, hey, man, run back. It's all about creating an environment where you're trying to get success out of it. So rather than being individual, good skills, very quick, better human beings in general will create a more successful team. And that's what I want to close the gap and bridge the gap between what players think they need to what coaches actually look at from a criteria standpoint that goes far deeper than can he control the ball.
Yeah.
To me, I believe that's a bare minimum.
Of course.
If you can't do that, then find another sport. And this is where I'm really seeing, and it's like the relationships I'm building with these with these kids and the parents. We're like family now, bro, because they're looking at me like, fuck, he's changing my kid's life.
Yeah.
The messages I'm getting, it's deep. It's full on. It's something far beyond that I would have expected. And this is why I really like to showcase my rawness to it. And it's not for everyone. Don't get me wrong. My coaching style is not for everyone. I piss people off. You know, people want the fence sitter, the nice guy, this, that. That's cool. But the ones that are with me, I draw them in and it's like, man, they're not going nowhere. So it's kind of like you either really love me or you're off me that hard that you just think like, nah, forget it. Like, I hate this guy.
Yeah. I was going to say, we both know in football, aka soccer, it's a big mindset game too. So with a lot of the kids, you're kind of building their mindset as well.
Yeah.
So, because, you know, obviously, yeah, it's physical, but man, I'd say like 70% of it is also mindset, man. You need to be strong up here if you're going to be a successful footballer. We've come across, because obviously we've both played seniors before, senior football. We've come across amazing players, but their mindset has been trash, you know, not punctual to training, not disciplined, but amazing players. And it's a shame because you're like, if you can just, you know, fix that little bit, you can be the best player. So it's good that you're also helping their mindset in that way as well. I was going to say, so how come you stopped playing soccer?
I pulled the pin in 2020. 2019 was my last season.
And who'd you play with as well?
I was at South Springvale Addis. We just got promoted back into State League 1. 2020 was the year COVID hit. I went to do the pre-season for it, and then that whole season got canned. And then I had a year off. I think I was 28 at that time. I'm 33 now. And I had the whole year to just kind of digest, what am I doing? I'm 28, playing State 1, getting paid for it. How far am I going to go? How many more years have I got involved in the game? What enjoyment am I having out of it? And I felt that after having that year off, it was my time to stop. So I pulled the pin because I think I exhausted everything that I was capable of doing as a player from the game.
But physically, you're fine, right? Like you
Physically, I
still,
was fine. Look,
yeah,
I had the odd injury here and there. It wasn't like I had major knee surgery
yeah,
and
yeah.
this, that. I didn't have any major injuries other than an ankle break, but that wasn't holding me back from anything.
Mm.
It was purely because I've exhausted my efforts as a player. Sure, I might be able to play a league or two higher, but to what expense? I wasn't willing to make that sacrifice. I wanted to still be involved in the game. And that's where I wanted to step into coaching because this was something that was tinkering in my mind years before as a player. I was doing courses, S&C this, watching YouTube. I've obviously been training my whole life as well. So I'm in love with training. You know, I've got a real thorough understanding of the body. And it just kind of fell into my lap. And here I am like 6, 7 years later and changed my life, man. Just changed my life.
So do you feel like you kind of took a risk in kind of leaving things behind and starting coaching?
100%, because I wasn't always a coach.
So what did you do before that?
I'm actually a qualified electrician.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I've been a qualified electrician. I've still got my A-grade license. And I was working in the industry for 10, 11 years. And I was running my own company. I was installing solar. And I was doing this all while I was playing soccer. And yeah, I mean, to give up running my electrical business to getting into coaching.
Which is also, you know, in some way a financial loss for you as well, because obviously, you know, as an electrician, you do well. And then stopping that and doing coaching, it's a risk. Obviously, you're changing things, you know what I mean?
100%, bro. 100%. I mean...
But for the love and the passion that you had for coaching and helping people.
Oh, bro. It's... Like, I look back at it and I always knew it was the right decision, but at the time, it was very difficult because I got my old man and he's looking at me, he's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to be a coach? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, where's that going to... Like,
Yeah.
well, what's that gonna do? Where's that? Like, always just questioning me.
The standard walk parent.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you know, as strong-minded as I like to think I am, you know, you hear these things, especially from people that you love, and then a little bit of doubt sets into your mind. But at the same time, it was just another reason for me to just go even harder and prove him wrong that I can do it. So yes, it was a big financial cut. It was something that I needed to really assess, but I knew at the stage that the life I was in, after running a successful business, I had the skill set. I just needed to flow that into a different business model. I got the right people around me. I hired some mentors. I set myself up. But I truly felt that this was my way of being able to express my personality to help those around me. I couldn't give a stuff about electrical work. I go to a party, say, right? There might be a table full of electricians. These guys talking about switchboards. Not interested, mate. I don't care. I don't care how long I've been in the industry. All that didn't bother me. You sit there talking about health, fitness, bettering yourself, mental state, mate, I won't shut up.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, how do I foresee the rest of my life being? Is it going to be that guy in the trade? Or is it going to be that guy that's essentially created a job out of who I am, which doesn't even feel like work. It's just, I'm just being Chris Tomazis. Okay, perfect. And you can make money out of it? Yeah. And you can yell at people and get them fitter? Yeah. Sign me up, man. You know what I mean? I'll do it for the rest of my life. No problems. I've never felt like I've worked since doing that. And that's not to say like there's not a lot of work. There's a shit ton of work you got to do. You know what I mean? There's videos, there's this, clients, blah, 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 blah. But when it's something that's like who you are, forget it, man. Like I said, I'll do it till the day I die. Happily, most importantly.
And what advice do you have for people that are stuck in those two minds of having their career job, but wanting to pursue their passion?
The advice I would give them is that you need to really think about this methodically. It's not something you just go bang and get into it. You need to assess your financial state. At the time, I was blessed. You know, I don't have a family. I don't have dependents. I didn't have children. My expenses compared to like, maybe someone that was in a situation like that was different. So I had the ability to take that risk. And if you are in a situation where you are at a crossroads, I would say go for it. I mean, I've done that. It's hard for me to not give advice for things that I've taken, but I would say make sure you do it in the right way and be dead set serious about it. Like, you have to go all in and you have to expect and struggle for a bit. But if you can withstand that, where I am now, I guess on the other side of hindsight of that period of time when I had that first decision, I'm super grateful that I took it. Super grateful.
It's good. Bro, to me, and I watch all your social media stories and videos and stuff, you're very put together. Your physical, your physical attributes are amazing. Mental state, spiritually, obviously you have a missus, God bless. You're on a very good path, which is amazing. I love to see. One thing I wanted to know is what brought you to that best version of yourself? So who were you before? Who was Chris Tomazis before? And who is he now? And how did you get there?
Bro, this is a massive question. This is a massive question. The Chris Tomazis before, look, I was a pretty troubled young boy. I went to 3 high schools. I fucked around hard. It wasn't that I was dumb. I just had no care, no respect for teachers, for basically the nerds that were putting rules on me and telling me what to do. I don't have a problem with being told what to do, but if I don't respect where the authority is coming from and I'm looking at a guy, I'm like, come on, bro, I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to it. Because I came from a household where my dad was essentially the father figure that I believe that all men should have. Like, I'm so grateful for my dad and what he implemented to me, because that basically held a certain standard. Although I fucked around a lot, every time I did fuck around, I always thought, my dad's going to fuck me up if he finds out. And if I never had that thought and I never had him around, I would have been far worse than what I was.
So like a mixture of fear and respect.
Absolutely. I think you need to have some level of fear in order to respect the words that come out of that person. Like, I didn't fear that teacher, so I'm not going to respect him. I didn't fear my mum. My mum would yell at me all day. Shut up, mum. Like, I'm not scared of you. My dad says the same thing. I'm like, I'm fucked. Like, he'll smash me. So I will respect it. It's as simple as that. So that troublesome upbringing came into my 20s. Look, I had my head checked in. Like, I did my apprenticeship. I'm working hard. I'm still playing football. I'm keeping fit. You know what I mean? I'm going through the standard like, I'd expect most young men would have gone through in their 20s. But I also had a different line of work when I was 23 to 25. I actually worked as a topless bartender.
No way.
And this turned into stripping as well.
Magic Chris, huh?
Pretty much.
Wow.
And the way that happened, and this is a pivotal part of the whole story, because as a young man at the time, it's all about like, getting girls, this, that, all that sort of, hoo-ha sort of stuff. And I was in the mix of it a lot. I was obviously topless bartending at hens parties, private hens parties. And then I love to dance as well. Greek dancing, whatever, salsa, like, you put whatever. I'm going to drop it.
Yeah.
I mean, not shamefully, no shame as well.
Mm.
And I was at this hens party, man. And I was topless bartending at the time. And this guy comes in from Magic Mike, right? Some Aussie guy. And he comes in, does his dance. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, this guy's fucking shit. And the chicks come up to me and they're like, you could do a way better job. Because like in between before he came, I was kind of like just dancing with him and shit. And I go, you know what? I could do a way better job than this guy. So I got into it. So I'm not going to go deep into it, or maybe another time, but basically this is painting the picture of, I guess, the environments I was putting myself around.
Mm.
So compared to where I am now, which is almost 10 years later, there was a big transformation that happened later on. It's kind of in line when I started to become a coach.
That turning point, yeah?
Yeah, man. When I started to become a coach, because again, I was asking myself the question, how am I going to be viewed to the common man? Am I going to be that malaka that, you know, just goes to hens parties, and what respect am I going to garner? If I was still doing that now, would parents be looking at me like, I want you to be in charge of mentoring my children? Fuck no. You know what I mean? Well, not the right parents. So I had to make a change. And I started to grow out of that. I was like, this is actually, like, I was go to hens parties, I'm like, you chicks are actually pissing me off. Like, you're all drunk and this and that. Like, you're like, I'm done with it. You know what I mean? So as I became a coach, I started to question, how am I going to be viewed? But at the same time, I actually got asked to be the best man at my mate's wedding, which was kind of when I was like 27, 28, if my memory serves me correctly. And if I was going to be the best man at my mate's wedding, that would also mean that I would end up being the godfather of his firstborn. And he asked me this, and I said yes, of course, but I didn't quite know what that truly entailed. And that's when I went on my path to figuring out the role that I essentially signed up for. And once I started diving deep into that, I was like, all right, well, what kind of friend am I going to be? What kind of best man? What kind of battle am I going to be to my mate if I'm still carrying on going to hens parties? He's going to have a son. And he's like, oh, yeah, my nonno's a stripper. Like, nah, man, I can't have that. I need to be a well put together guy that can garner the respect from my clients, my peers, from women, you know, attracting the right woman. And I'm putting myself in these environments. What's the likelihood of me grabbing a nice girl? Like 0 to none, bro. So I don't even know what your question was, but
No, it was basically like, yeah, no, you pretty much answered it. It was how, you know, the turning point from, you know, when you were a stripper and when you went through all that bullshit to where you are now. So, but I'm sure that you don't regret it because you learned a lot about life and people and females, I'm sure, at that time as well. Yeah.
oh, look, I don't regret anything I've done.
Yeah.
I haven't made, I guess, you know, sound decisions in my life to where I am right now, but they've all paved a path to who I am now. So yeah, I needed to be that guy.
Mm.
I needed to be that guy so I could know what's on the other end. And now I look at it in hindsight, I'm like, thank God that happened, because it's taught me so many, you know, useful things right now that I can, I guess, teach my kids, the guys I coach, all that sort of
100%.
stuff.
That's wisdom and knowledge that you're going to be passing on to the youth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make sure that they don't go through that path, obviously,
Mm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to say, your religion and faith is so strong within you, bro. How did you get to that?
Well,
Because I'm sure it wasn't as strong before, right?
no, it wasn't. And, you know, being Greek Orthodox, I grew up with my grandmother, and she lived across the road from the church, and she was a very religious churchgoer. And both my parents, when I was born, were working, and I would basically just be there Monday to Friday, and they'd pick me up on the weekends, and I spend it with my mum and dad. So my grandparents to me were essentially my second parents, and I had a very, very close relationship with them. And as a byproduct, we go to the church, bro. Not just on Sunday, it'd be on a Wednesday to clean it, or I don't know, there might be some
Just involved in the community.
just something on Monday with the Greek community at
Yeah.
Paran, and like, I don't know, there's kids there. Like
Yeah.
I remember just like riding my scooter in the church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kicking soccer balls and stuff. So it wasn't just a Sunday service. It was, again, it was a community-based thing. And I guess that was my standard in which I started my life off with. But then I started playing soccer, and then soccer was on Sundays. And then obviously I lived with my parents a little bit more so because, you know, I was now in primary school. So my grandparents, I guess, were my primary caregivers. And soccer then became the thing to do on a Sunday. And then church became something for Easter. And then I went through my radical upbringing. And then I'm like, what's church? Like, I'm not going to go to church. There's just old people there. You know what I mean? So I had a period of absence from it for a long time. But I guess my turning point, again, what I mentioned, was becoming a gubaro. And that's when I was like, well, I need to understand what I'm signed up for here. I can't just go like, yeah, there, like I'm going to do it. But then push comes to shove, I got no idea what I'm doing. And I obviously was baptized Greek Orthodox. I have a godfather, but I don't really have a relationship with my godfather. Not that there's anything bad's happened, but he lives in like Campbellfield.
Yeah.
We're in the southeast. You know, he was my dad's best mate growing up. But, you know how life is,
happens,
bro.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I can't even catch up with my best mate. He lives literally 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
You know, life.
Yeah.
So 50 kilometers, forget it.
Yeah.
Not regularly, at least. And I didn't want to have that same relationship with my godson. So that's when I was like, I need to figure out what this is about. And I need to, you know, I guess move into that spiritual type of alignment, whatever you want to call it. Now, as we mature older as men, you know, we get over the sort of the bullshit that we thought was cool once, which was cool at the time. And now we're just kind of like, I want to relax a little bit, man. You know, there's more to life than, you know, what we maybe once believed.
Yeah.
So that's where it was really being asked to be a gubaro. Really changed everything, man.
I feel like as a man, once we're given responsibility, that's when we change. Because it's like, okay, we've got responsibility now. We have to act right.
Correct.
The right man will do that. You know what I mean? Whether it's kids, whether it's, as you said, being a godfather, an uncle, you know, having a career, having your own business, you're forced to level up and act right. Because before we had no responsibilities, so we can do whatever we want and mess around and stuff like that. But once it's like, okay, I've got my own business now, you know, this is obviously financially, I've got to go all in. I've got to act right, or else it's, you know, people look up to you and people rely on you. We got to step up.
Yeah.
For you, what does it mean to be a man?
For me to be a man, you need to know, and you got to be assertive with the things that you say. You can't second guess decisions. You can't be I think, maybe, someday. Nah. You say something, you need to mean it. Being a man is also about honoring your word. This is something that I cannot stress enough. Honoring your word is massive, because sometimes in life, you may only have your word. You want to be somewhere at 10 a.m., be there at 10 a.m. You're going to say you're going to do something, because the reputation that you uphold, like say for example right now, right? Say I came late. Right then and there, you would have just thought, who is this guy, bro? Talks all this shit on Instagram and is late. Like you can't even do the simple thing of rocking up on time. That, to me, is literally a bare minimum standard that you need to have as a man. Be punctual. Be assertive in your words. Have some physical presence about yourself. Have some size. Know how to handle yourself. That's all part of being competent. Men need to be competent. No woman is going to pick a man unless they have some level of competence. Women just want to be like, relax, the guy will take care of everything. He'll decide where we're going to go. He'll decide what she's going to wear, whatever. They want to fully be in their feminine state, and they cannot be in that feminine state unless the man is about his shit. He's punctual. He knows what he's talking about. He's assertive and has some physical presence about himself. It's part about being a man, at least in my opinion.
No, I 100% agree. And that's our traditional values. And that's why back in the days, our grandparents or parents that came to Australia by boat with nothing, this is the mentality they had. And this is why their marriages were so successful. And today, I feel like we're losing that bit of traditional values. You know, the kids of the new generation, or, you know, the parents that are born here, they're losing their tradition. And, you know, this new gen doesn't understand those traditional values. People will call it controlling or narcissistic or manipulative because they don't understand what masculinity is and they think it's toxic. But it's really not, because it's proven to be success. Why are divorce rates so high right now? It's because there's no gender roles. The woman wants to be masculine and the man is feminine. How does that make sense?
Look,
You know what I mean?
What you're uncovering right now is deep, and there's so many layers in which you can dissect this. And not to say that anything you're saying is wrong. It's spot on. Like, you go into like a third world scenario, and people will just naturally go into their gender roles. Women are the caregivers, and the men are, I guess, the providers, the protectors. Provide and protect. Yeah. But in the modern day world, in the Western world, say for Australia, America, the UK, and anything else that comes under that banner, because women have more rights, or it's not even more rights, because women have the ability and they're educated now and they can work, they don't need a man. Simple, plain and simple, bro. They don't need a man like they used to.
They weren't so dependent on a man, right?
Bro, my yaya, both my yayadas, one, God rest her soul, she's gone, but my other yaya that's still alive, she cannot drive a car.
Yeah.
She's got no license.
Yeah.
I don't even reckon she'd be able to pay a bill. I don't even reckon my mum knows how to pay a bill. I swear to God.
Yeah.
And what you need to understand with what comes with that is that they are dependent on the man. Maya can't drive. If Papu's around, we'll go to the market. If he's not, she ain't going nowhere. Now, this isn't a ball and chain, Maya's in like slavery. No. And this is where a lot of people will just, instantly grab at that. If a woman doesn't need a man, why is she going to get a man? She's only going to get a man because she wants the companionship or she wants children. But when you don't need something or you're not dependent on it, your perspective changes so much. Say, for example, right? Women now, she finishes school, she gets a job. They're hypergamous by nature. They're always going to date across or up, mostly up. Very rarely you'll find one will do a cross. Basically, what that means is a chick is going to date someone either on her level or above.
But you know what? Sometimes they date below out of insecurity purposes because they know that the guy isn't going to get anything better. So they go for someone lower. So then they're put on a pedestal. But sometimes that guy ends up cheating on them,
Yeah, I mean, from a successful relationship standpoint, that ain't
I see that a lot. Beautiful girls mostly date below.
Yeah, but is it a successful relationship?
Probably not.
No. So for a woman will always date across and up. Not always, like obviously there's exceptions to the rule. And this, by and large, is a protective mechanism that they would have. They need someone that's better than them to provide for them because eventually they're going to have a child who's going to protect them during that stage. They need someone that has the financial resources, the network, all that sort of stuff. So when you've got women now that are making money and there's women out there that are making bank, why are they going to date a guy for? Well, they don't need a guy to provide for them because they're providing themselves. We live in a pretty safe, environment. They don't need someone to protect for them. So then why are they going to go find the guy to protect for them? They just want a companionship. They just want some arm candy so they don't look lonely. So now, if they're dating across or up, let's put a number on it. Say a girl's making 100K a year, right? She ain't going to date a guy that's making 80. She wants better. And do you know what? She deserves it. So she should. That's in her nature. So now, all of a sudden, you've got women 2 generations back that, weren't making much money, weren't working, that any old guy that was a factory worker could just pick him up and they'd make him a housewife. Now, you've got women, say, making 100K, they need to be finding some guy on like 150 plus to find a companion. So all of a sudden, their dating pool has shrunk. Then you add in layers of like, well, the world's getting more expensive and this and that. Women have to work because how are we going to buy a house? So then you add up all these things and, you know, got a woman working and you got a man working. They pull their money together to buy a house. Now the woman isn't as traditional because she's working as well. Now the male doesn't have the ability to be as dominant because he's not like, well, I'm the provider. So the chick can be like, yeah, well, I'm paying for that. And then he's like, well, fuck, fair enough. So he has to give more leeway. And then you've got this dynamic in the relationship where it's all over the shop. It's not traditional. Tie in the fact that people aren't as religious anymore. And when you are religious, you are more bound to that gender role. And you mix that together, and then you literally have where we're at right now. Obviously, the more expensive that things are as well, it's like people are now delaying. Like I'm 33 right now, bro. I haven't got kids. I'm not married. Mate, if that was in the 60s, people would be looking at me like I would have had 3, 4 kids by now.
Yeah.
I've got people in my family from 2, 3 generations back that were having kids at 18, 19. Mate, I couldn't afford to have kids at 18, 19 in the modern world right now. There's no chance. There's no chance, mate. I was just fresh out of high school. So the environmental factors that we have dictate it. Religion, I think, dictates it heavily. And the fact that women are now able to earn money, which is a beautiful thing, man, but it's also to their detriment in terms of finding a companion in which they ultimately, and this is the most important thing, they ultimately look at as their king. Because if a woman's bringing money into the table and so is the guy, she may love him. Don't get me wrong. She may love him, but she ain't looking at him like this guy is like my lord.
I
I'm
completely
going
agree.
to take his last name. I'm going to do whatever it takes. This is why I see a lot of relationships, they're together, they're married, yeah, all cool. But Malaka, how many times have you known of a papu passing away and then months later the ER goes? Not because she wasn't sick or anything.
Heartbreak.
It's because she literally will die for her man.
Yeah.
And she did everything for him. She lived for him. When my papa went, ever since that day, my yaya has been saying, like, I cannot wait to go to see Papu again. And as much as that breaks my heart to hear it, I hear that and I'm like, what a woman, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's proper. You're not going to get that now. And this is where you mix all these things up, and I see that. And again, this is why I've spent so much time on the single side of the fence. Because I'm like, mate, I know what value I have. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, offer this girl my last name. That's meaning to it. If you're not worthy of it, forget it. I'll date you for a bit, but you ain't taking my last name, baby.
It ultimately comes down to trust. If the woman doesn't trust her man to lead, to protect, to provide, and some might argue and say, those CEO, boss bitches, whatever, you know, women that make an amazing amount of money, that have a bit of masculinity and stuff, they still want to feel feminine with a man. And they are open to feeling feminine with a man, but some men can't provide that for some women because they feel intimidated by them. So I don't blame the women for feeling like that, because the state of some men these days, it's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
So, because the men from before, they're built different. Those men, they're jack of all trades. They can do anything, you know. Same as the women. They can do anything. So, Yayaves and our papudas, they're built different. You're never gonna find those ever again. That generation's finished. So, what do you think is the solution to all this? Is there one, or are we still trying to find the solution?
Look, the solution to it is look, you're not going to be able to do if you want a full solution that's unrealistic, there needs to be a great reset. That ain't going to happen. I'm a realist. That ain't going to happen. I think what people need to do is they need to become closer to their religion, whatever that may be.
Facts.
Okay? I think they need to come closer to the religion. Firstly, because that humbles people. And when you go into an environment, say of a church, whatever it might be, you go in there and there's a collection of people from all different demographics of life. Well, economical demographics of life from that. Say the Greek community, there might be poor people, rich people, all that sort of stuff. But everyone's in there under the eyes of God on the same level. And that's a real humbling feeling when you're in that environment where if you're just kind of all out and about, hanging around with rich mates or broke people or whatever kind of, social construct you fall into, you kind of only just get stuck in that and you may not really get to see the other side of what other people are. So I think religion's number one. Two, from a community standpoint. Two, if you are religious, then you will understand the male and female roles a little bit better. So I'm not expecting women to go straight back into being housewives. It's unrealistic because reality is most men in the modern day era aren't able to provide a life financially in order to facilitate that. It's just the way the world is. Economically, we're struggling. That's it. So women, by and large, mostly will have to work. But if they're religious, they will be a little bit more humbling and understanding of the roles. And this is where you've kind of got to put like a modern twist on it as well. You can't just be, I'm the man and you're going to stay at home. And sure, you might have a few outliers that could do that, but we're in the modern world. Financially, it is a lot harder. So you have to kind of blend the two.
Mm.
I think it's unrealistic to have it. We're not going to go back to the 50s and 60s. That's it. They're inflating the dollar more and more and more and more. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
So we need to find a balance. That would be my solution.
No, I definitely agree. When you have religion in your life, you have a set of principles and morals and values to live by every single day. So you're on the right path because you want to live in the image of Christ. So you want to be a good person. You want to respect people because that's going to come back to you in the future as well.
For sure.
And obviously we're Greek Orthodox and we're very, very passionate about our faith. So what does orthodoxy mean to you? What does being a Greek Orthodox man in 2025 mean to you?
Being a Greek Orthodox man, for me, means, Greek Orthodox man, I think being Greek, a byproduct of being Greek is that you need to be super proud of who you are and where you come from. For me, I've always been proud of being Greek. I've now become more proud of being Orthodox. So what means to be a proud Greek Orthodox man is really someone that loves his family, loves Christ, and loves his country, because there are so many people out there that have spilt blood in order for us to sit here comfortably, proudly, and say we're Greek. Like I'm wearing it on my, I'm wearing it on my arm right now, man, and it's part of who I am. It's my identity. Everyone knows me as being Greek. Like if you were to say Chris Tamazis, describe him in 3 words, one of them is probably going to be Greek, like guarantee. And I think you need to uphold that pride, because when you uphold that level of pride, that in itself will dictate how you carry yourself as a man. We have such a rich history. So rich, man. From the ancient times up until the Byzantine era, up until the modern period of time. And there's a lot of sacrifices, a lot of men went out of their way so we could sit here and proudly say we're Greek. And to not really care about that, to not really go into the depths of the history of it, it's like almost doing yourself injustice to being brought up in such a beautiful way. So what it means for me to be a proud Greek Orthodox man is being proud of your religion, be proud of your faith, your country, and be proud of who you are. because there was a lot of proud Greek men out there that went out and lost their lives so we can sit here today and carry our names and our legacy and everything they did for us.
I love that, man. What an answer. That's awesome, man. I really appreciate that. And you're so right, man. We are very prideful and confident and very passionate about our country. And we're very hospitable people. I'm sure a lot of people have been to Greece and have seen the hospitality that they receive there. We're very warm. I can't deal with any coldness or, people that are just cold. I can't deal with that, man. We're from families that have shown us love and showered us with affection. Are you the same?
Look, I'm very blessed to have been brought up with my family, both loving parents, grandparents too, extended family in Greece. And, it's not a big family, but there is a lot of love there. And through my friends that also come from very similar backgrounds, even Italians as well, we do have that, like that close knit, like it's like we're holding on to it more because we have to, because we're afraid of losing it, because we aren't in our homeland anymore.
Definitely.
And that's why they say, like, the Greeks out of Greece are almost more proud than the Greeks in Greece.
Yeah. Well, Melbourne is the most populated Greek place other than in Greece, right?
It's the biggest one outside of Greece.
Outside of Greece, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about something with you, and I'm sure you know what I'm going to talk about. What's happening in America right now, and especially with the Charlie Kirk situation, since it's a trending topic. I wanted to know your opinion about it and how it got to that and why you think that kind of happened, unfortunately. God rest his soul.
This is massive, man. And look, shenanigans like that occur in the world, it's really sad to see. And I've had a few conversations with people that have like lost their minds over the death. It's really affected them in a bad way. And they constantly ask, like, why him, why him, why him, shot in his prime. And my answer to that is, that's a sign from God. If they were to shoot someone that was 80 years old, it wouldn't have had the same effect. Everything happens for a reason. And yeah, it's sad. Don't get me wrong, now these two children have to grow up fatherless. But he died for a reason, and the fact that he is gone now holds weight in the whole, I guess, event. And I think we should almost be grateful for his death in a non kind of sick way. Like, don't take this out of context, because at the end of the day, Jesus was also sacrificed at 33 years old in his prime. And, we pray about him 2,000 years later. So there's some significance behind these sorts of things that is now, I believe, hopefully going to be a turning point in society, because things are crazy, bro. You got trannies and this and people thinking like, man, I'm coaching a guy and he's telling me there's like kids in his class that are called furries.
What?
They think they're animals. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that makes me scared of having kids.
Bro, legit. Like, he goes, mate, we've got a kid. I think it was a girl or a boy in our class that thinks they're a cat, and they've even got a kitty litter in the house in the classroom.
And the school accepts that, and they can't say anything about it.
Yeah, and so people think they're anything. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen a couple of interviews Charlie Kirk's done with people, and it's just almost like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Just look at the profile of these people, bro. They're a mess. They're a flat out mess. They're not a man. They're not a woman. They're fat. They're not well put together. They've got these stupid agendas about whatever it is. Like, they could be gay. They could be straight 1 hour late. Like, it's just, there's no consistency. They're not assertive in who they are. What was I saying before about being a man? You need to be assertive in who you are. You need to be sure, I am this person. How are you going to lead a country? How are you going to make decisions? How are you going to lead a family if one day you're gay, then you're bi, then you see a rainbow flag and you're back to gay? And
but what does that stem from? Like, do you think it's their upbringing, their parents' fault, or something they're born with it, just like a chemical imbalance? Or like, how do you think they just grow up like that.
Look, religion is a huge thing. They're definitely not religious.
No way.
Like, they're definitely not religious.
No.
They're like 1,000, too comfortable, bro.
They're on the opposite side of the spectrum on that.
Bro, you know what it is, bro? The Western world has made life too easy for people. Too easy. They haven't gone through struggles. And I'm talking real struggle. I want you to think about this for a second. You go into the depths of Africa. People are in survival mode. Do you think they have the time to think about being gay? Do you think they have the time to sit there in their room and go, I think I'm a cat?
Absolutely not.
No chance. This is a first world modern day sickness that has been allowed due to the comfortability of their life. Now, these guys might spit back and go, well, we've been, we haven't been able to have a voice for years and this and that. And, we've felt, oppressed and we can't talk and whatever. You want to call that a struggle? By all means, man, go for it. But the reality is modern day society has made life too comfortable for them that they now have the ability to think that. It's like vegans. Well, you are so comfortable in your first world life that you have the luxury of deciding that you don't want to eat meat. Malaka, go to Africa. Find a vegan there. If I went into the depths of a village with a lamb on the spit, do you think there's going to be an African going, oh, do you have a vegan option?
Absolutely
No, bro.
Not.
He's going to be, mate, give me the leg. You know what I mean? Cut me this. Actually, I want the neck. It's a mad part as well. So it's all stemmed from, we're too comfortable, man. Simple as that. There's Centrelink, there's this and that. And then obviously, the agendas of the elites that they want to push that as well to weaken society. And then they promote acceptance of it. And now, it's almost like fashionable to be gay. And then you blend all those together, bro, and then you've got this. But it's going to change. It's going to change. Life goes through cycles, bro. Goes through cycles. We have wars. Everyone's grateful. This is why studying history is so important, because you really get to see the cycles of life and why wars occurred and why decisions were made and this and that. So Charlie Kirk's death is an example of we are in that chaotic of a state that they need to execute this man to essentially prove their point. And this is only going to happen because we are so cooked in the world. So cooked. And, these same people will be like, oh, don't go to war. But if they got invaded and all those fags were on the front line, trannies were on the front line, mate, America would be cleaned up 2.5 seconds. You think China, they're going to be scared of, some guy with purple hair on the front line? But I can't handle it. This guy can't even do 5 push-ups, mate. You know what I mean? So it's modern day crap. That's the bottom line is it's all stemmed from that, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I about what? The situation?
Well, the situation, but where do you think this is, or I guess all this toxicity has come from? Where do people have this belief system to think that that's okay?
Yeah, I think number one, their upbringing. They've probably had no families, absent parents who haven't guided them through life or any sort of figure like that. And sometimes that happens to people, but I think the biggest thing, as you mentioned, is faith and religion, bro. If you don't have that, I know we keep talking about it, but if you don't have that, you are going to be lost in life. You are going to be soulless. You are not going to know what path to choose in life, because if you have a religion and have faith and believe in God and Jesus Christ, you know that he was the perfect person and you want to live the way that he did. Not saying that we're perfect because we're going to sin, but we're not going to sin in that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you think 1,000 years ago that there were people like that? Absolutely not. And as you said, some people are bored. And another thing that has kind of made this bigger is social media as well, because you're seeing all these things on social media and there's kids looking up to people like, those makeup artists on YouTube that are fucking half female, half male, gay, not gay, and they want to be like that. And it's like, you're a man. Why the fuck are you putting makeup on like that? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it makes me sick.
Nah, you're right. You're right. And obviously as well, in the modern era, there are so many sub categories of people. People back say 50, 60 years ago, you're kind of only Greek, Orthodox, or you're either only you're religious, or you're can't even talk. You're either only identified through a smaller community. Like there might be like you play soccer, you might do boxing, you might be Greek, you might be this. Now, we've got communities of people that just drink like oat lattes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's just there's just so many different communities where it's so vast. And then it just again, social media allows the ability to showcase it, and people again. I think this all stems from there's hard rules in religion.
Yeah.
There's hard rules in religion, and they are a set standard in which people, they uphold you to a certain standard.
But I also want to mention to the people that we're not here preaching that we're God's gift and that we're perfect, we're the perfect men and we're the white knights of the world, because we do make mistakes too and we do fuck up as well. But our intentions are pure and our heart is genuine, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Your heart is genuine and your pure soul, you're never going to lose in life.
Yeah. Look, deep down, they're all unhappy, and I think they're all mentally sick as well. They're all mentally sick. They're unhappy and mentally sick because they're looking for a sense of belonging. And when they feel like they've belonged to a community that's also sick people, they kind of just, they bounce off each other. They make themselves feel more comfortable. They make them feel like it's okay. And when you got all these people making you feel like it's okay to be gay or be this or be that, then why wouldn't you, man? And then the world's also accepting it. So you're like, well, there's nothing wrong with it. But I think deep down, they are sick because two men, I straight out do not care what anyone says. Two same-sex couples will never, ever feel the same love that a man and a female can create together. It's impossible.
It's a fact.
It's all fabricated. It's like a vegan burger ain't going to taste the same as a steak.
No way.
It could fill you up, but it ain't going to be the same. And it goes deep into it, man. Like you can't birth a child together. So that in itself is a connection that man and woman have now created life together. Now their bond is more so than just love. It's like we've created this human being, man. They're going to adopt a kid. They're going to get a surrogate kid. Just think about how sick that is. And then what values are you going to teach it? On top of that, having sex, having intercourse with the opposite, there's an energy, there's a transfer of energy. You're not going to get that with two men, two women. Straight out. It's just not going to happen.
No.
So you're never going to feel that same love. They may say that they love, and it might feel good to them, but it's just not going to be the same when you exchange energy with another woman and you have that. And then, you add a child into it as well. And, I'm yet to come to that stage, but I've seen it with my mates that are close around me. And, all they think about is their children. And I just can't see that happening with two gay men or two gay women. Just think about the child that's going to be going to school. Like, what are they going to be talking around the dinner table? You got two gay dads. It angers me. It angers me, bro.
It's actually very common these days as well.
Yeah, bro. It full blown angers me.
At the primary schools, I'm sure there is that situation of
bro, I wouldn't be surprised.
Two mums and stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. I talk to my mates all the time, and they're at the stage right now where their kids are 4 and 5, and they're looking at primary schools, and mate, the due diligence that they're going through. I tell my missus all the time. I go, mate, my kid ain't going to school, right? He's gonna do boxing. He's gonna do soccer. I'm gonna teach him finance, and we might get a few private tutors so he can learn Greek and this and that. But is he gonna go to school and listen to Mrs. Betty about geography and her feminist views and this? Forget it, because they're gonna be there for so many years, indoctrinated in the crap. I don't want my child to be involved in that. No chance.
And like, how do you even explain that. And when they ask those questions, like, Dad, like, what is this? Like, you know, what does this mean? Like, he's got this and that. Like, how do you even answer that? You know, it's like, it's crazy.
I don't know how I'd answer it, but this again this ties back into it. Like, you need to be the ultimate man.
Yeah.
So when you do have a child, because look, reality is, you know, I'm influenced by things
Of course.
throughout my life. But had I not had that father figure that was assertive, was dominant, then those influences would have pulled me even more. So this is why being a man, you need to take this, like, being a man is a full-blown job, and you got to take this so damn seriously, because one day we're going to bring kids into this world, and you need to say something, and they need to understand that I respect this guy. This is what he's saying. And if you don't have that physical presence, assertiveness about you, then unfortunately, your kid's going to go to school, and, you know, some feminist teacher, even some gay teacher, whatever, is going to teach them something.
Going to push their agenda on them.
And they're gone. And they're gone. And, you know what I mean? Say goodbye to your kid.
Yeah.
And that's real sad, bro.
And do you think social media from then on is going to get, like, obviously social media helps us with our career and everything like that. And there's many, many positives. But do you think, what's the downside to social media, you think, in your opinion?
Downside to social media is just abusing it, bro.
Getting stuck in that world of fantasy, of fakeness, of...
I think social media is beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Social media brought this together.
For sure.
I wouldn't know if it wasn't for social media.
100%.
So social media is fantastic because it can bring people together. You can connect with people worldwide. I can help people through it. But it's just like food. It's just like alcohol. It's just like anything. You can abuse food and become overweight. Do we just shun food? No. Do we just shun social media because people are addicted to it? No. Just use it to your advantage. Use it as a tool. Don't get abusive on it. Just like anything, man. So the downside of it is, it can be addictive, and you can sit there scrolling hours and hours and hours, and then, you know, you don't do anything. But that's not to say that it's a bad thing. I think it's just up to the individual and how they handle it.
Yeah.
Because even the gym can be bad.
Of course.
Imagine going to the gym all day, every day, and you just cancelled out your social life. Well, now the gym's bad. But it's also extremely important as well. So, you know what I mean? Utilize it to your advantage, man. That's it.
100%. And just to finish off, what are 3 things that you're grateful for in life?
3 things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for being Greek. I'm super grateful for that. I'm grateful for the people that I have around me in my life, my close friends, my family that have supported me, that have always got my back. And I'm grateful for my mindset and my health, if I can wrap that together. Firstly, my health, because that allows me to do everything to my fullest capacity. And my mindset, because that has given me the ability to make the decisions I make, have the people around me, push me, and I know that it's going to push me into the greatest successes that I have for whatever the future holds.
Chris, it's been a pleasure to have you, my brother. We
Bro.
definitely have to go for a cafe soon as well.
Bro, we need ages here,
We need
man.
another 2 hours here.
We need ages. That was an hour.
Yeah, that was an hour and a bit. But bro, honestly, it was a pleasure talking to you, bro. I know that we've got a million things to talk about, man. And this won't be the only catch up. We'll definitely catch up soon. We'll definitely have you again on the podcast because there's so many other things that we haven't even touched up on that we can talk about.
I knew this was gonna happen.
Yeah, me too. But guys, if you don't know, make sure you guys follow Chris Tamazis on social media, on Instagram, at Chris Tamazis Fit. Make sure you check out his page. Make sure you give him a follow. Any other social media pages or just Instagram?
I've got YouTube. I've got TikTok.
TikTok.
Facebook too.
Make sure you guys check him out. As I said, this was going to be an amazing podcast, and Chris delivered the goods today. So Chris, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it. And this episode will be uploaded on Wednesday. So keep your eyes peeled, and thank you so much, and see you next time.
Thanks for having me, man.
Cheers.